Under the electric glow of Manhattan's skyline, a hushed crowd gathers in a secret auction hall where millions change hands, and hearts hang in the balance. Emma, a resilient single mother, steps onto the lofty stage, emotions swirling like the city lights outside. Her pulse races at the question on every lip. What would drive a self-made single-dad millionaire to bid a fortune for her affection? Cameras fixed, bidders tense, as Ethan, leaning in from the shadows, prepares to stake his claim. Is it redemption, a wager, or something far more profound? Tonight, the stakes are higher than any price tag. As the gavel hovers between doubt and desire, one truth looms: love defies logic, and wealth can be both gift and gamble. Stay tuned and hit subscribe now to dive into every twist, secret, and stolen heartbeat in this billionaire romance that blurs the line between power and passion. Emma tiptoed into the second-floor apartment on Lenox Avenue. The dim glow of Noah's phone illuminated the scattered bills on the kitchen table. Morning in Harlem had never been so still. The occasional hiss of a passing car on the street below, children's laughter echoing in the courtyard, and inside, a weight of fear coiled in Emma's chest. Her son, 6-year-old Noah, lay curled beneath a thin blanket, murmuring his mother's name each time a floorboard creaked. Emma bent down, brushed a kiss across his forehead, and stifled a sigh. Rent and tuition were 2 months overdue, and the landlord's warning still rang in her ears. She set the tiny cup of steaming milk on the table. Her fingers trembled as they skimmed the electric bill, the gas statement. Then she looked down at her shaking hands. Was there any other way to save Noah from sleeping on cold floors? She had vowed never to let her son go hungry, never to leave him without shelter. But that promise now felt unbearably heavy. Emma gathered up the papers, turned her back on memories of stable paychecks, and evenings spent laughing over a simple dinner with her child. Before heading out the door, she scrolled through her phone. An anonymous message inviting her to a secret auction in Manhattan that very night. One entry: chance to clear your debt. Identity protected. Emma studied each word, her pulse leaping into her throat. Was it a scam, or a genuine way out? In that moment, she saw Noah's face. Innocent eyes, his hand in hers as they walked to school. She could not hesitate. The elegant auction hall in Midtown Manhattan fell eerily silent as the heavy wooden doors swung open. Crystal light from the chandelier spilled onto the red velvet carpet, a stark contrast to the distant roar of traffic. The auctioneer, a gentleman in a slate-gray suit with a warm, resonant voice, stood atop a dais. Every attendee wore a numbered badge, their faces half concealed behind bronze masks, each hiding a private story. Emma ascended the stage to soft murmurs. She wore a thin coat, her face pale, but her eyes burned bright with resolve. Below, the glare of the stage lights made her heart pound as if it would leap from her chest. Noah had been led to the waiting area by a volunteer. In that moment, she pictured him trembling, and all her courage ignited. The auctioneer spoke. Tonight, we seek a guardian, a mother, to give a child the fullest possible future. This is an anonymous contract, a binding pledge. With that, a mother-of-pearl box on the dais was opened, revealing a numbered agreement inscribed with a single clause. The guardian will bear and deliver an heir to the family, then depart with her own child. The hall was deathly quiet, save for the echo of Emma's heartbeat in her ears. The hush stretched taut, like a string about to snap. The gavel fell once. $100,000. Polite applause fluttered from a far corner. Emma closed her eyes, imagining how paltry that sum was against her mountain of debt. The gavel struck again. 500,000. She froze at the figure, enough to free a single mother in Harlem. But another bidder, Hannah, raised her paddle. Applause swelled. Then, from the rear, a gloved hand rose, holding paddle number 21, no ring on the finger. The auctioneer paused mid-stroke. $1 million. Sold. Confirmed. His eyes glinted with surprise and delight. The hall erupted in applause, but to Emma it sounded like shattering silence. Descending the stage, she felt lightheaded until a man's voice whispered at her side. Emma, right? A balcony light picked out his tall frame. Ethan, the single dad millionaire, composed yet inscrutable. He offered his hand, leading her into the expectant Manhattan night. As the limo glided down the avenue, Emma gazed up at the glittering penthouse above them. Each second stretched, daring her. She had entrusted her fate to a stranger, traded her freedom for money. Inside the luxurious apartment, New York's panorama spread below. Ethan placed the contract on the table. Candlelight flickered, casting an intimate yet foreign glow. He began. "Here are the terms. You will conceive and bear an heir for the lineage. Care for that child until their first birthday, then depart freely with your son. The agreed sum will be transferred to your account immediately." Emma stood rooted, torn between hope and dread. She recalled Noah's clear, trusting gaze, the strength that had carried her onto that stage. But now she faced a new fear. Signing could rescue her son from hunger and repay her debts, yet it would cost her freedom and the full motherhood she craved. She stared at the contract, the paper of her destiny, and wondered, could $1 million ever buy unconditional motherhood? Amid such luxury, was there still room for genuine love, or only unspoken agendas? Emma inhaled deeply, listening to the clock's soft tick on the wall. The night stretched on, and her decision would change both their lives forever. Emma stepped onto the balcony awash in the scent of lavender. New York's city lights glittered beneath her like 1,000 stars. She drew in the cool night air, felt the warmth from the little space heater at her back. Before her lay the rooftop garden, rows of fresh vegetables and potted plants that Ethan tended with such care. Saplings thriving among the glass and steel, bringing an unexpected coziness to this lavish penthouse. Yet despite the luxury, she could hear the lonely rhythm beating within her host's heart. Ethan appeared behind her, tall and lean in a pale gray cashmere sweater, silver threads framing his eyes. He gently placed a steaming mug of cocoa on the mahogany table. His soft footsteps on the thick rug called to her. "Emma, did you sleep well?" he asked, voice warm though laced with hesitation, as if gauging her response. She turned, her eyes glistening in the swirl of steam. She nodded. "So peaceful, thanks to you." They sat together on the little swing chair beneath the mellow glow of amber light. A spring breeze whispered through the leaves, stirring the crystal wind chimes. The scene felt like a jewel suspended in midair, yet Emma knew that a dream only finds its magic when there's a story behind it. He was silent a moment, then murmured, "I never thought I'd see a tree on a rooftop." She smiled. "You're the one who made this a home." The word home rang out warmly, an affirmation of trust. Ethan lowered his gaze to her hand. "You know," he said quietly, "before you and Noah arrived, this was just where I came to sleep and work." He lifted his head, eyes heavy with sorrow. "All these glass walls, I built them to hide painful memories." Emma clasped his hand, trembling at the vulnerability in his confession. Ethan looked deep into her eyes, as though trying to send a message he couldn't speak. "I lost my daughter," he whispered. "Her name was Lily. She was 8. She loved roses and singing classical songs. A car accident stole everything, and I couldn't save her." The world seemed to still in that moment. Emma felt her heart constrict, imagining the unimaginable grief of losing her only child. She said nothing, only squeezed his hand to let him know he was not alone. After a long silence, she shared her own story. "Noah, my son, is my entire world. One day we were moved to Harlem after our home in the Bronx burned down. All I had left was him. His smile pulled me from the ashes." Through the phone, Noah's cry rang out. "Mama!" A sweet refrain. Emma reached for her bag, switched to speakerphone. The small screen revealed 6-year-old Noah, big innocent eyes shining. "Mama, I miss you." Emma wiped her tears and whispered, "I miss you too, Noah." Ethan stood quietly beside her, watching the screen. Genuine empathy flickered in his eyes for the little boy. When the call ended, he turned to Emma and asked, "Noah is your lifeline?" Emma nodded, voice trembling. "Without him, I wouldn't know who I am." She led him into the penthouse library. floor-to-ceiling ebony shelves lined with leather-bound volumes, a warm desk lamp casting a gentle glow over the solemn space. Clara, their devoted housekeeper, appeared with a tray of afternoon tea and almond cookies. She smiled, greeting, "Miss Emma, Mr. Ethan, tea is served." As Clara arranged the tray, Emma's eyes settled on an antique frame, a black and white photo of Ethan beside a girl of about 8 or 9, her smile radiant. Emma froze, hesitant to touch it. Clara noticed and leaned in, murmuring, "That's Lily, Mr. Ethan's daughter. She passed away 8 years ago, but her image remains to remind him of love and responsibility." Emma gently traced the glass, her heart aching. She sighed. "You've endured so much." Ethan sat across from her, shoulders trembling. "I built all this to forget, but you made me remember what matters most." Clara added softly, "Mr. Ethan also sponsors an orphanage in Queens. Every month he allocates part of his profits to those children. He never sought praise. His heart remains open, despite the grandeur around him." Her warm gaze turned contemplative, as if urging, "Remember that." Emma looked at Ethan, a question shining in her eyes. Was this genuine generosity, or a way to soothe his guilt? Ethan reached out, brushing her hair aside. "I want to give Noah and Lily a world of peace. You are the bridge between those worlds." Afternoon light filtered through the windows, bathing the library in a golden glow. Emma set Lily's photo down and met Ethan's gaze. "I want to understand you, not from images or rumors, but by hearing what you did when you nearly broke." Ethan inhaled deeply, lifted his head, his tone steady yet laden with memory. "In the months after Lily died, I neglected everything. Contracts, meetings, money. I didn't even count. Then one day I received a letter from the orphanage director. She wrote that those children needed someone to care for them, just as Lily once craved affection. I went to visit and saw their fearful eyes. I realized I couldn't save Lily, but I could save other souls." Emma felt the tide of emotion rise within her, from grief to hope to compassion. She laid her head on Ethan's shoulder, feeling the warmth radiate from his heart. "I'm proud of you," she whispered. "I believe you're here with me, not because of any contract, but because you want to preserve love in every form." Ethan pressed a gentle kiss to her forehead. In that instant, all mysteries seemed to recede. Yet deep inside, Emma sensed a flicker of doubt. Was he seeking happiness or saving himself? She closed her eyes, promising to uncover the truth in the days ahead, together with him and with Noah. Under the golden glow of dusk, the penthouse glimmered warmly. In the hushed library, love sprouted from pain and courage. And in Emma's heart, the seed of doubt took root, ready to grow and reveal the secrets of Ethan's past. Secrets that could turn this romance into either a heartbreaking tragedy or an endless love song. Ethan sat behind his mahogany desk in the midtown high-rise, the city's bustle fading into a distant hum beyond floor-to-ceiling windows. His reflection in the glass showed a man at his most confident. Tailored charcoal suit, crisp white shirt, tie knotted just so. Yet inside, his chest tightened as he reviewed the final pages of Emma's contract. A meticulously crafted agreement that spelled out every condition of her stay in his world. There had been no mention of a child. Still, hope flickered in his mind. Perhaps she truly was unencumbered, ready to embrace his proposal without complication. With a steadying breath, he tapped his phone screen. "Video call, Emma," he murmured. A moment later, her face appeared, soft features framed by warm light, the plush furnishings of her modest apartment behind her. Emma smiled, relief and tenderness shining in her eyes. "Ethan, good evening. Everything all right?" He studied her, noting the faint worry lines at her temples. "Just checking in," he said, forcing calm into his voice. "I wanted to hear your voice." She nodded, lifting a steaming mug of tea. "I've been thinking about our conversation this afternoon, about the terms." He leaned forward. "Then let's clarify anything that's unclear." Her chin dipped. "I understand completely," she whispered. "I'm ready to move forward." He let the words hang, then squared his shoulders. "Before we proceed, Emma, there's something I noticed." Her brow knitted. What is it? He tapped the screen, flicking through a series of images he'd captured earlier during their video walkthrough of her apartment. He paused on one shot. A framed photograph perched on her mantel. A smiling little boy, curly hair, bright eyes. This child, he said quietly. Who is he? Emma's breath caught. Her fingers tightened around the mug. That's Noah, my son. Silence flooded the call. Ethan's jaw clenched. He realized then how carefully she'd hidden that truth. No mention in any of their negotiations, no allusion during their weeks of growing intimacy. A slow heat of betrayal washed over him. You didn't tell me, he said, voice low, betrayed. You lied. Emma's eyes filled. I didn't lie, she protested, voice trembling. You omitted it, he cut in, standing abruptly. The camera shook as his phone shifted. This contract is based on full disclosure. You knew the terms forbade any dependence, so you hid him. Her shoulders drooped. I was afraid I'd lose everything. I needed this for Noah. He's all I have. His gaze hardened. You think I don't understand sacrifice? He took a pace around the room, his black Oxford shoes echoing on marble. Do you know what it feels like to build an empire, only to watch the one you love slip through your fingers? To lose Lily and have no control? He stopped, voice cracking. I would never keep her from you. But how am I to trust you now? Emma's lips quivered. Please, you have to... Ethan sat behind his mahogany desk in the midtown high-rise, the city's bustle fading into a distant hum beyond floor-to-ceiling windows. His reflection in the glass showed a man at his most confident. Tailored charcoal suit, crisp white shirt, tie knotted just so. Yet inside, his chest tightened as he reviewed the final pages of Emma's contract, a meticulously crafted agreement that spelled out every condition of her stay in his world. There had been no mention of a child. Still, hope flickered in his mind. Perhaps she truly was unencumbered, ready to embrace his proposal without complication. With a steadying breath, he tapped his phone screen. Video call, Emma, he murmured. A moment later, her face appeared, soft features framed by warm light, the plush furnishings of her modest apartment behind her. Emma smiled, relief and tenderness shining in her eyes. Ethan, good evening. Everything all right? He studied her, noting the faint worry lines at her temples. Just checking in, he said, forcing calm into his voice. I wanted to hear your voice. She nodded, lifting a steaming mug of tea. I've been thinking about our conversation this afternoon. About the terms. He leaned forward. Then let's clarify anything that's unclear. Her chin dipped. I understand completely, she whispered. I'm ready to move forward. He let the words hang, then squared his shoulders. Before we proceed, Emma, there's something I noticed. Her brow knitted. What is it? He tapped the screen, flicking through a series of images he'd captured earlier during their video walkthrough of her apartment. He paused on one shot. A framed photograph perched on her mantel. A smiling little boy, curly hair, bright eyes. This child, he said quietly. Who is he? Emma's breath caught. Her fingers tightened around the mug. That's Noah, my son. Silence flooded the call. Ethan's jaw clenched. He realized then how carefully she'd hidden that truth. No mention in any of their negotiations, no allusion during their weeks of growing intimacy. A slow heat of betrayal washed over him. You didn't tell me, he said, voice low, betrayed. You lied. Emma's eyes filled. I didn't lie, she protested, voice trembling. You omitted it, he cut in, standing abruptly. The camera shook as his phone shifted. This contract is based on full disclosure. You knew the terms forbade any dependence, so you hid him. Her shoulders drooped. I was afraid I'd lose everything. I needed this for Noah. He's all I have. His gaze hardened. You think I don't understand sacrifice? He took a pace around the room, his black Oxford shoes echoing on marble. Do you know what it feels like to build an empire, only to watch the one you love slip through your fingers? To lose Lily and have no control? He stopped, voice cracking. I would never keep her from you. But how am I to trust you now? Emma's lips quivered. Please, you have to... She perched on the edge of the visitor's chair, hands folded in her lap. He paced behind his desk, weighing his words. Finally, he spoke. I've considered your situation. You may visit your son tomorrow at noon, at the community center where he studies. Clara will arrange transportation. You will not bring any documents or tell him why you've been away. Emma bit her lip. I understand. He leaned forward, intensity in his gaze. I don't want secrets between us. You hid Noah because you feared losing everything. I hid my vulnerability because I feared losing my heart. Do you see how we're no different? Her eyes shone with tears. Yes. But I want us to be honest from here on. He nodded once. Then we start now. No more lies. She exhaled, as though she'd been holding her breath. Thank you, she whispered. He studied her, Emma, whose cheeks were still stained with tears, but whose eyes burned with determination. One more thing, he said, reaching into his desk drawer. He produced a slender envelope and slid it across to her. I found this while arranging my daughter's things, he said quietly. It's addressed to me, but I never had the courage to open it. Emma picked it up, fingers trembling. His daughter's handwriting curled across the front. What is it? She asked. He paused, pain flickering in his eyes. I don't know. I've been too scared to read it. He began to rise, then stopped himself. I want you to read it, and then decide if you still want to be part of my life. Child, contract, and all. Emma's breath caught. The letter felt like both a bridge and a test, a glimpse into the sorrow he kept hidden, and a challenge to embrace the unknown. I will, she promised, clutching the envelope to her heart. As she left the office, the towering walls of glass felt less like barriers and more like mirrors, reflecting her fears, her desires, her choices laid bare. Outside, the city pulsed with possibility and peril. Tomorrow, she would reunite with Noah and face Ethan's demand for truth. But tonight, the first cracks in their fragile alliance had formed. Trust, she realized, would be the most valuable currency in a world where secrets could cost them everything, and where love demanded the bravest leap of all. The guests glittered in the opulent hall of the Midtown East Hotel. Soft lounge music drifted on the air, carrying the delicate scent of jasmine and rose. Tonight's annual charity gala for Ethan Caldwell opened in spectacular fashion. Crystal lights twinkled overhead. Glasses of rosy champagne were raised in unison. Emma appeared at Clara's side. Clara, her devoted housekeeper, in an elegant sapphire evening gown. She offered a gentle smile, her heart fluttering with both nerves and pride. For tonight was not only a matter of honor, but also a chance to prove herself in the eyes of the benefactors and in Ethan's eyes. In a corner of the room, Ethan stood beside the prepared auction table, clad in a classic black tuxedo. Behind his wire-frame glasses, a slight, knowing smile curled at the corners of his lips. When the spotlight found him, his broad shoulders and upright posture spoke of a powerful man with a warm heart. Emma watched as he spoke earnestly with each sponsor, his gaze betraying no falsehood. She told herself, though he's ruthless in business, he still has a heart that can be moved. Suddenly, a chill breeze swept through the entrance, rousing Emma from her thoughts. Sophia, Ethan's ex, entered in a form-fitting silver gown. Her slender figure carried itself with regal poise. Her long golden hair fell in loose waves. Her pale blue eyes swept the room like a challenge to every glowing lamp. The gala's murmur dimmed as she approached Ethan, a sardonic smile playing on her lips. Good evening, Ethan, Sophia greeted, her voice sweet but edged with steel. Long time no see. I understand this is the secret auction your sister attended years ago, so I've long suspected this program existed. Ethan's brow furrowed, then he inclined his head. Sophia, I'm glad you could support us this evening. She laughed softly. Support? Or surveil? Sophia tilted her head toward Emma, standing discreetly behind Clara. And you must be... Emma, new to his world. I hope you read the contract carefully. Every nerve in Emma's body snapped taut like a plucked string. The confidential contract she had signed, known only to Ethan and Clara, was now in Sophia's power. Sophia stepped closer, speaking loud enough for Emma to hear. I know all about your unique arrangement. The single mother auctioned off as a springboard for this charitable show. I've kept photos and documents from years past. If I choose, I can expose the true face of this gala. Are you prepared for a scandal to rock your world, or will you try to buy your way out of it? A flash of ice chased through Emma's mind. What? What will he do? All eyes turned to them. Clara slipped her hand into Emma's, offering a quiet comfort amid the storm. Ethan closed his eyes, inhaled slowly, then exhaled. Sophia, whatever you hold in your hand belongs to the past. Yet if you release those documents, we will both lose more than reputations. His voice remained calm, though Emma heard the crack in each word. Stop this, while you still can. Sophia lifted one brow. Very well. But don't forget, I'm not easily intimidated. I only want justice for that young woman, a single mother you once courted. I'll be waiting for your explanation. With that, she turned and vanished like a proud phantom, leaving a chill in her wake. Once Sophia had slipped behind the gilded columns, Emma whispered to Clara. Clara, she knows about the auction? Clara leaned close, murmuring, Yes, Miss Emma. Sophia participated in this program years ago. She has the evidence. Files, photos. She intends to prove that you too are just another player in his scheme. Dizzy and trembling, Emma's eyes brimmed with tears. Why didn't he tell me? Why? Her voice cracked. Clara patted her shoulder. Stay calm, Emma. Let Mr. Ethan handle this. We need only show that you truly belong here. The gala ended amid overturned champagne flutes and whispered rumors in the dark. Emma returned to Ethan's suburban estate, a splendid villa hidden among ancient oaks, its lights shimmering like fireworks at midnight. Yet her heart felt frozen. Sophia had unveiled a buried secret, leaving Emma to wonder whether her connection with Ethan was genuine or merely a power play. Clara opened the gate, lanterns alight. In the marble foyer, Emma paused, struck by the hush. Candlelight danced on the white stone floor. Ethan waited at the end of the long corridor, his back against a column, arms crossed. He'd removed his tuxedo jacket, sleeves rolled up, his face drawn but taut with tension. Emma, he called, his voice heavy with emotion. She stepped forward, her eyes still haunted by Sophia's revelation. She said many things. He gestured toward the framed auction certificate on a nearby table. I've sponsored this program for over 8 years. I kept it secret because it was the only way to help so many orphans go to school. But I never imagined it would draw you in. Emma bowed her head, tears slipping down her cheeks. You sought me because I reminded you of your wife? Her voice trembled as she looked up. She's gone, Lily. You found me to erase your grief? Ethan exhaled, stepping forward to take her hand. Not only that, I was drawn to your passion, to the love you showed for Noah. But yes, I also saw Lily's reflection in you. You reminded me of a love I feared I'd lost forever. Emma withdrew, stepping back 2 paces. You hid so much from me. I trusted you. I was ready. Her voice shook. I feel betrayed. Ethan's brows rose in surprise. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I feared you'd leave if you knew my secrets. I wanted to protect you, but I see now that I pushed you away. She turned, walking the length of the corridor toward the library. Tears traced paths down her cheeks. Candles flickered like a racing heartbeat. I cannot let Noah suffer for your past, she whispered. If I stay with you, my son will only ever be a stand-in. Ethan hurried after her, resting a gentle hand on her shoulder. "No, Emma. Noah is always welcome here. I only tried to keep painful truths to myself so I wouldn't hurt you. But I realized that was wrong." She faced him, eyes brimming. "You don't understand. Too much has already happened. Trust has shattered. I must think of my son first." He lowered his head, voice thick with emotion. "I will prove it to you. I will end this auction program, release all the records, so no one ever suffers under its secret again." Emma halted, surprise and skepticism warring in her gaze. You really will?" Ethan nodded, his grip tightening on her hand. "For your peace of mind, I will remove every restriction on you and your son. All documents will be made public, and I will take full responsibility. The only thing I hope to keep is you and Noah, if you will allow it." Silence stretched between them, broken only by their heartbeat. Emma looked into Ethan's earnest eyes, seeing the struggle and regret within. She exhaled, her lips curving in a small, uncertain smile. "I need time. To save Noah. I've sacrificed too much. I'm not sure I can trust again." Ethan nodded softly, returning her gaze with hope and sorrow intertwined. "I understand. I will wait for you, until you feel safe enough to come back." Emma turned and walked through the front doors. Clara stood outside, sympathy in her eyes. She gave a gentle wave, then disappeared into the cold night. Emma's heart ached, the breeze brushing her shoulders. She thought of Noah sleeping soundly, of his smile when he sees her return. Every choice carried risk. She closed her eyes, drew in a deep breath. On this second night of their journey, she felt both hope and longing, and a doubt enough to weave the most complex love story imaginable. In the warm glow of the penthouse library's amber lights, Emma sat curled on the velvet rug, her head bowed as her gaze traced the delicate fissures in the ebony bookshelves. Clara's shadow had just slipped away, leaving the room hushed save for the steady ticking of the clock. Slowly, Emma pressed a false brick at the base of the shelf, and a secret door swung open, revealing a black leather box. Her heart pounded as she drew out a time-worn journal. On its opening page, Lily Caldwell was inked in graceful script, the dark letters blurred by tears. Emma offered a bitter smile. This was the late wife's diary, a secret Ethan had never shared. With the library door closed behind her, Emma turned to the first page and read the trembling words. "Today, they told me I am property. I must step upon that stage to barter my unborn child's life. I love my husband, but my heart is shattered." Each line stabbed the stillness of the penthouse like a blade. She flipped hastily to the next pages. "I dare not weep before the crowd. I only wish someone would carry me and my child away from this nightmare." Her chest clenched as she felt the shared pain of two women, Lily and she, forced into the same cruel fate. The final entries revealed an even darker secret. Lily had been compelled to serve as a charity auction surrogate, just as Emma had agreed, under harsher terms. She could not keep her child. Her freedom was stripped at birth. Lily wrote that Ethan had promised rescue, yet had been powerless against his family's pressure. The young wife had collapsed when her dreams of happiness crashed under the stage lights, her heart filled with an unspeakable fury. Emma shivered as she closed the journal, tears streaming, and wondered, how deep did Ethan's remorse run? Before she could steady herself, Ethan entered the library, his face etched with worry. His eyes fell on the journal in her hands. "Emma, you found it." His voice trembled as if he had crossed 1,000 miles of grief. Emma looked up, her eyes rimmed in red. "Why did you hide this from me? Lily endured the same tragedy, and I have too." She burst into tears, pent-up anger erupting. "You betrayed me from the start!" Ethan stepped forward, gently placing a hand on her shoulder. "I'm sorry. I couldn't bring myself to open that journal until I was ready to face the pain. I feared you would leave, unable to stay where Lily could not." His voice cracked with anguish. "I wanted to atone for the past, by saving you, and by saving your son, Noah." His eyes glistened with sincerity, the candlelight reflecting the depth of his confession. "I've rewritten the contract. You and Noah. I invite both of you to live with me. No more secrets, no binding terms. Just a family, if you agree." Emma's breath came in ragged gasps. She looked into Ethan's eyes and saw both regret and hope. Clara entered quietly, holding the newly printed contract embossed with subtle filigree. Emma opened to the first page and saw her name and Noah's listed in the pledge. No odd stipulations, only an invitation for mother and son to be by the side of the man who vowed to protect them. Her hand shook as she signed the last page, as though committing to a new chapter of her life. The next morning, Emma, Ethan, and Clara set out for the Brooklyn orphanage. Noah sat eagerly by the limousine window, watching the bustling streets unfold. The orphanage was a cozy enclave, its playground awash in rainbow hues and children's laughter echoing through the air. Ethan stepped out first, his eyes warm as he led the spring gift distribution, coats, books, treats, to the waiting children. Emma lingered behind, moved by the scene. Here she understood Ethan's true heart, not merely a solitary millionaire, but a man bringing love to the helpless. Noah ran into the arms of the other children, sharing his first cookie. Emma clasped Ethan's hand, watching him join the volunteers to guide the kids in drawing and play. Her throat tightened. He had poured his soul into this work, funding it quietly to lift forgotten children from the shadows. Clara smiled and whispered to Emma, "Our master doesn't want you to see only one side. He wants you to know why he devoted himself." As dusk fell, the convoy drove on to a suburban oasis, a modest cottage nestled among orange groves and fields of lilies. This was Ethan's summer retreat for the orphans, humble but welcoming, with limestone walls and a hearth at its heart. Emma felt overwhelmed by his genuine compassion. Ethan invited her and Noah inside with care. "This is where I find peace," he said softly, "and now I wish to share it with you and our son." Emma wandered along the flagstone path, the night chill touching her hair, but her heart burned warm. Noah darted around, plucking ripe oranges, laughing with the other children. Emma seated herself at a rustic wooden table, where Clara had placed Noah's schoolbooks. She turned to see Ethan holding Lily's journal. He raised it to the last unread page. "I want us to face the past together," he said, eyes full of hope. "Only then can we move forward." Her voice wavered as she replied, "You have given me more than I imagined. I see your heart now." Emma reached out to rest her hand on his, feeling the steady beat beneath. Their love had blossomed from shared pain into a yearning for life. Yet as they prepared to return to the penthouse, Emma recalled the journal's final line, ink smudged but legible. "Only when the last orange falls from the tree will the secret be revealed." She folded the diary closed, the dim oasis light casting her face in thoughtful shadow. In that moment, Emma understood. Though love had taken root, mysteries of the past still loomed like a distant island. What signal did the last orange portend? And when that secret finally surfaced, could their fragile happiness endure, or would it shatter? The night air whispered among the reeds, hinting at vows and curses yet unfulfilled, promising a new chapter rich with drama and emotion, where love and challenge would walk hand in hand. Beneath the sweeping panorama of New York City's nightscape, the penthouse rooftop glowed with 1,000 lights. Yet Emma lay slumbering as if encased in a cocoon of deep blue velvet, her head gently cradled against Ethan's steady shoulder. Each breath she took was measured by the night breeze, heavy with the intoxicating scent of jasmine drifting from the miniature garden they had lovingly tended together. And though that fragrant air soothed her, another, more urgent rhythm pulsed through her body, each contraction a wave of fire that tightened her chest. Without warning, Emma stirred, a soft groan escaping her lips, as her hand gripped Ethan's crisp black shirt over his heart. In an instant, he was alert, his strong arm sliding beneath her, his voice low and urgent. "Emma, what is it? Are you all right?" he murmured, concern breaking the hush of the night. She attempted a reassuring smile, but the next contraction flared, racking her with pain. It hurts, Ethan," she whispered, the words caught in her throat. "It's so much." He moved with deliberate gentleness, easing her onto a chaise longue draped in rich cushions. The velvet whispered beneath her as he rose to retrieve their hospital bag, packed meticulously days before. From the shadowed doorway emerged Clara, ever vigilant and composed, her arms carrying a leather medical kit in one hand and her phone in the other, already connected to emergency services. Under the warm halo of the rooftop lanterns, the two of them worked in swift harmony, unclasping belts, gathering pillows. Yet through the flurry of movement, Emma's vision settled only on Ethan's eyes, dark, unwavering pools of love and worry. Moments later, they loaded her into the waiting ambulance. Ethan's strong arm supported her trembling frame as Clara clasped her other hand. The siren's wail shattered the night's calm, but beneath its urgency, Ethan's voice hovered close to her ear. "You're in my arms, Emma. We're here together. Just breathe. We'll see our baby soon." She nodded, eyes fluttering closed, the city lights blurring through the window as adrenaline and pain merged into one fierce moment of waiting. Inside Midtown Hospital's emergency wing, harsh fluorescent tubes lined the ceiling in unwelcoming rows. Emma was whisked away into the labyrinth of curtained rooms and polished linoleum, while Ethan and Clara paused in the deserted corridor. Ethan leaned his back against a cool pane of glass, staring out at the glittering skyline, feeling each heartbeat echo in his chest. Clara crouched beside him, her voice a quiet reassurance. "Sir, it won't be long now. The doctors are preparing her for delivery." His jaw clenched as he rose, nerves turning his hands to ice. With a curt nod, he followed a surgeon's beckoning wave into the operating suite. In that hushed antechamber, as masked figures moved with taut purpose, fear ignited in Ethan's eyes. Once, he had lost Lily. Losing Emma and this child was a thought too vast to bear. Time fractured into shards of white-coated faces, medical instruments, and Emma's voice, breathlessly affirming, "I'm right here." Then, from beyond the curtain, the soft-spoken announcement drifted out. "Your baby has arrived." Instinct propelled him forward. He burst into the delivery room to find Emma, exhausted but resolute, beads of sweat glinting on her brow. He clasped her hand through the dividing curtain, his voice thick with awe. "Emma, my love, our child is here. You're doing beautifully." She looked up, adrenaline and relief in equal measure shaping her exhausted smile. Then came the newborn's declaration, a clear, urgent cry that filled the chamber with life. Clara, having anticipated this moment, gently placed the tiny, wrinkled infant on Emma's bare chest. In that sacred instant, mother and child fused into a single miracle, Emma's tears falling freely as she pressed her lips to the babe's forehead. Ethan hovered close, gratitude and wonder etched across his features, and bent to place a light kiss on Emma's temple. "Welcome, little one, our angel." 3 days later, the triumphant return to the penthouse felt like stepping into another world, one softened by sunlight and new beginnings. Emma navigated the hallway, cradling her newborn, swaddled in Clara's softest blanket. At the penthouse's threshold stood Noah, all 6 years of his boundless energy and wonder, eyes wide with disbelief and delight. "Mama, he's so precious," the boy exclaimed, rushing forward to offer his gentle, eager hands. Emma braced herself for a toddler's clumsy grasp, but Noah's touch was tender as he curled a small finger around his brother's. Ethan watched this tableau, his two loves standing behind them. Pride and relief softened the lines on his face as he addressed Noah in a voice bright with promise. "Noah, meet your baby brother. You're going to be the best big brother in the world." Noah's grin stretched from ear to ear as he buried his face against Emma's shoulder in a triumphant hug that made her heart swell. That evening they returned to the rooftop, a place that had witnessed struggles and triumphs alike. Above them, a rare cloak of stars blanketed the city. Ethan had arranged a little feast, a small wooden table, flickering candles, and 2 glasses of unbranded sparkling apple cider, whose bubbles caught the candlelight like distant galaxies. Emma seated herself in a simple wooden chair, the newborn cradled against her heart, and gazed upward at the vast firmament. Ethan approached on bended knee, his posture at once respectful and resolute. In his hand he held the original contract, now a crumpled relic of their past negotiations. With a steady breath and a decisive motion, he tore the paper in two, the pages splitting apart like a barrier dissolving. The breeze fluted through the lavender pots, carrying the soft rustle of leaves as he spoke. Emma, when you and I first met, I offered you a bargain, a contract designed to shield my wounded heart. But over these months, you have shown me what truly matters. You fought for Noah, you sacrificed for our child, and in doing so, you taught me that love cannot be contained by any clause or condition. He held up a simple gold band, its unadorned surface gleaming in the candlelight. Emma Caldwell, will you marry me? Will you join me in building a home, not as a transaction, but as a testament to devotion, for you, for Noah, and for our newborn angel? My heart belongs wholeheartedly to you, now and always, not because of any contract, but simply because I love you. Emma's tears became a resounding cascade, tears of relief, of joy, of a love so profound that even pain and fear melted away. She nodded, her voice caught in an octave of emotion. Yes, Ethan, yes, I love you. Ethan rose to his feet and slid the ring onto her finger. Their baby stirred, offering a fine, practiced coo as though applauding its parents' commitment. Noah piped up from the edge of the rooftop. Does this mean we can have candy now? And the three burst into laughter beneath the star-studded canopy. Weeks later, in the warm embrace of Central Park's verdant expanse, their wedding unfurled like a leisurely sonnet. Clara stood by Emma's side, bridesmaid and confidant, her eyes shining with pride. Noah, in a miniature tuxedo, bore the rings on a crimson velvet cushion with solemn dignity, his little legs pumping with excitement. Emma wore a gown of elegant simplicity, soft chiffon that whispered with each step, as she took Ethan's arm, now her husband, her partner in parenthood, and the father of their two children. Surrounded by their closest friends, bathed in dappled sunlight and the gentle chorus of songbirds, they exchanged vows that echoed the promise of their rooftop confession. As the officiant pronounced them married, Ethan bent to press a tender kiss upon Emma's brow. Noah erupted in jubilant cheers. "Let's set the balloons free!" And together they released dozens of heart-shaped balloons into the autumn sky. The gentle ascent of those crimson hearts drew spontaneous applause, sealing their union in bright celebration. As the golden hour waned, Emma leaned close to Ethan's side, her voice soft with conviction. No contract, no matter how well intended, could ever outshine the truth of real love. Ethan's hand tightened around hers. "Love," he answered, "has conquered every barrier. Tonight, we have everything we've ever dreamed of." And so, under a canopy of amber sunset and fleeting starlight, the four of them, Emma, Ethan, Noah, and the new baby, sauntered along the park's winding paths, laughter a warm echo in the crisp air. Their story, born of trial and touched by redemption, found its perfect finale in the promise that genuine love can withstand any trial, heal the deepest wounds, and build a home that endures. Share this story with your friends in the US to spread the emotion. Follow our channel Millionaire Story TV to discover more dramatic love journeys.